Oh.
Okay.
Can I have your attention, please? If everybody could just take a seat, we're going to get started a little bit early. Sorry. If everybody could take a seat, we'll go ahead.
Is it this speaker up here too, behind the screen? No, that's not. What if we stand over there?
Okay. Sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation, and then staff will still be here afterwards to answer any questions. So we're going to start off and have Councilmember Martinez come up and welcome everybody. And then we'll have a presentation on the comprehensive plan and then the bond, and then we'll open it up for questions. So thank you all for coming out on a Saturday morning to join us. And here's Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, everybody. Wow, we had a great showing here in District 11. So I just want to welcome you to the 2026 bond presentation. We're also, like you've heard from Michelle, going to hear about the 2050 comprehensive plan. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Most of you know that this is a great opportunity to hear about what's included in the proposed bond, but also to advocate for any projects that you'd like to be considered. Thank you to all the staff that is here. We have staff from all the various departments to help answer your questions at the end. But first, we're going to get started with Tony from the Fort Worth Lab, who's going to go over the 2050 Comprehensive Plan.
Make sure I stand in the right spot. My name is Tony Harold. Hi, everybody. I'm the planning manager in the Long Range Planning Division for the City of Fort Worth. So before we get started with the bond presentation, we have a short presentation for our 2050 comprehensive plan that we'd like y'all to learn about. And with that, we have a short video to play, and then I'll get into a quick presentation about the comp plan.
This is our Fort Worth, the place where we grew up.
Where our friends will build dreams and where the choices we make today shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Our city is growing faster than ever, but growth takes smart planning. Designing neighborhoods and districts where people can live, work, learn, and play within reach.
It's about thinking long-term, and now's the time to reimagine where we can go next. That's what the 2050 Comprehensive Plan is all about. A vision and a plan for how we grow, connect, and thrive over the next 25 years.
Think of this as a big picture way to plan. Instead of focusing on one property at a time, we look at how entire neighborhoods, streets, and districts fit together, how homes link to schools and work sites, and how trails lead to parks and community centers.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a playground.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a new home or a business right down the street.
We can create active neighborhood centers where people meet up with family and friends, connected by green corridors, trails, and efficient transit that link every corner of our city. This kind of planning keeps each area's character intact while giving every neighborhood a chance to grow in a way that fits its residents.
Our future can be a place with even more great jobs and innovative companies, with advanced employment and higher education centers.
Vibrant places, great neighborhoods, a city we're all proud to call home. That's the future the comprehensive plan helps guide for all of us.
So what will Fort Worth look like when I grow up?
Those decisions start now, and they start with you. Your voice, your ideas, your priorities, they shape the goals and policies that will guide our future.
This is your chance to help decide how land is used, how growth happens, and how we enhance the character of our neighborhoods.
Join the conversation.
Share ideas.
and help us reimagine Fort Worth.
This is our chance to make Fort Worth a better place with fun.
So I love this video because it really shows who the plan is for, not only for you and me, but it's for our kids, it's for our grandkids, and even our great-grandkids. Because over the next 25 years and on, the 2050 Comp Plan is going to act as Fort Worth's official guide for decision-making when it comes to growth and development, and it's citywide. It's ultimately going to include, it's essentially a summary of goals, strategies, objectives, and actions that, again, will guide decision-making throughout the city, ultimately allowing the city to work alongside the community in developing stronger neighborhoods, more resilient neighborhoods, safer neighborhoods, and again, a strong, resilient economy as we move into the top 9th, top 8th, top 7th largest city in the country. So where are we now? The comp plan is a long process, ultimately culminating in 2027, but I wanted to talk about some initial engagement we performed back in 2024. So in 2024, we engaged with the community to get some initial priorities from the community, which will lead into a summary. We have a summary preliminary engagement plan to ultimately develop an emerging vision for the city and where we want the city to go over the next 2.5 decades. Now, as we move into the second phase of the plan, which is more plan development, we're really trying to hone in on this vision and develop sound strategies and actual actions to make this vision a reality. And we're doing this through community engagement, number one, but also expert consultation, and then in consultation with departments across the city, whether it's Public Works, Parks and Recreation, Economic Development, et cetera. So we have the most robust, strongest plan to guide us. And with that community engagement, I wanted to share a couple resources that are current and going to be ongoing throughout the process. So throughout my 3 slides, at the beginning of the presentation and at the end of the presentation, there's QR codes that'll take you to Connect Fort Worth, which is our official window, your official window into our planning process. So there we'll have general information about the plan. We will share any resources we develop throughout the plan, any interim analyses. We also have a timeline on there, pop-up events where you can become engaged with the plan. We have any other resources we develop, we will publish through Connect Fort Worth. Most importantly, right now for us, we have an interactive survey available. We encourage you and everybody you know to take the survey for us. It's incredibly useful. We use it to directly inform the plan. Generally, we are asking for folks to provide us with their overall priorities for the city of Fort Worth, any potential challenges or your thoughts on potential challenges and opportunities across the city. And then what I find really interesting is there's a section on this survey that allows you to identify specific areas within the city and talk about any potential development or redevelopment you think might be useful in that area. So again, it's a super quick survey. It's 5 minutes, easy to share, and it's available through connectfortworth.com. And so with that, with any more questions, I'm here with part of the long-range planning team, Eric Flatiger and Connor McDonald. We're over here with our posters. We have a dot poster for you all to help us, again, tell us your priorities for Fort Worth overall. And we're also here to answer any questions about the comp plan or the planning process in general. And again, please check back with Connect Fort Worth. We will update it as we have new engagement opportunities. And with that, I will hand it over to April Rose with the 2026 bond.
All right, so we're going to also begin with a quick short video, and here we are.
In the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, the City of Fort Worth is looking far ahead, setting an ambitious vision for how our city will grow and thrive in the decades to come. But bringing that big picture vision to life starts with real short-term action. That's where the 2026 bond comes in. Every 4 years, Fort Worth voters have the chance to shape the city's future through a bond election, a way of funding essential public works projects. For 2026, the city is developing an $840 million bond package focused on the foundations that keep Fort Worth moving forward. Out of the city's 67-cent tax rate, almost 15 cents go toward paying off debt like bonds. The proposed bond package fits within that amount, so your tax rate won't go up. Fixing every identified need across the city would cost billions, so we have to be strategic. That means making fiscally responsible decisions that deliver the biggest impact with the dollars available. Using data, master plans, and community priorities, city staff identify projects that can leverage external funding partnerships and balance needs across every part of Fort Worth. More than 60% of the proposed bond package focuses on streets and mobility, designing and constructing major roadways and intersections, upgrading and repairing bridges, reconstructing neighborhood streets, and improving pedestrian safety. The proposed transportation projects were chosen to advance the priorities identified in the city's master transportation plan. Another 22% invests in parks and open space, expanding recreation and trails for our growing population, guided by the city's new parks, recreation, open space, and public realm master plan. And the remaining funds support essential community needs that strengthen neighborhoods across Fort Worth, like public safety, animal care, library upgrades, and affordable single-family housing. These projects aren't chosen lightly. They're shaped by data, careful planning, and most importantly, your feedback. Help build our future. Use our interactive Balancing Act tool to explore the proposed projects and share your input on what projects should be prioritized. You and your neighbors will vote on the bond projects in May 2026. The comprehensive plan sets our long-term vision. The bond program helps make it happen.
All right, so just have to say that District 11 holds a special place in my heart. I used to visit my grandparents, mis abuelos, quite a bit throughout the entire holiday season over in Worth Heights, and so I'm really happy to see a full room here today. As Tony mentioned, my name is April Rose Escamilla. My background's in civil engineering, and I work with the Fort Worth Lab as a Senior Capital Projects Officer to present to you today the 2026 proposed bond. And so just some quick highlights from the video, right? One is that the 2026 bond, as it's presented, will not increase your tax rate with that $840 million that's being proposed. The second item is that a lot of the information, is a lot of the various projects, a lot of the items that will be proposed to you today has been led with a lot of informed decisions related to transportation plans, master plans, that our city staff has worked diligently over the past couple of years and has really pulled a lot of that information together, as well as community input, to be able to develop the list that you'll be seeing here today. And then the third is that we're all about engagement today. Any comment, any questions that you happen to submit, we are taking note of that because the overall list is not entirely baked. There are still opportunities for you to vocalize what you would like to see different or what you're a proponent of as well, so that we can also share that with both city leadership as well as city council. So with that, to begin, we have the 2026 bond program. Now, city staff has been working since all the way back through October 2024, in which we pulled together all the various needs. And again, this is about the hard infrastructure, really seeing what would the city actually need for the future. And that dollar amount was $2.7 billion worth of projects. And that's a lot of projects to be able to really narrow that scope down to be able to present to you today at $840 million. So this information was pulled together through ranking analysis, through data, through discussions with City Council on what exactly to include in each one of the propositions. But overall, we have the propositions that are shown here today. Streets and mobility, as mentioned in the video, is 60.9%. Parks and open space is at about 22% of the overall proposed bond. Public library, affordable single-family housing, public safety, and animal care shelter make up the remaining at $840 million. Now, what you will see today is what's baked into each one of these propositions is also public art funding, and that is through the City of Fort Worth ordinance that was approved by City Council. In that, 1% of the streets and mobility proposition would go towards public art funding, and then for the remaining propositions, it would be at about 2% for all other propositions. And this goes back to an ordinance from City Council direction as well. Also shown here on the right-hand side are all of the various projects for the 2026 bond program. You'll see that this project, all all the items that are shown here are throughout the entire city. So whenever we are proposing, if there are members outside of, say, even District 11, thank you for also coming, because we're looking at it from a citywide effort as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the very first proposition, which is streets and mobility at $511.5 million. Now that $511.5 million is broken down as shown here, where $199.1 million would go towards expanding major roadways. So you can really see that the projects over in that really red thick line for each one, as well as rebuilding minor roadways at $129.2 million. You can consider the minor roadways what we've all kind of come to learn as far as being neighborhood streets. So something that's within your own neighborhood, you may see certain programs in which we're able to capitalize a lot of these dollars to also utilize water department dollars from a cast iron line perspective, so that we can all go in together, take care of our cast iron line replacements, as well as really making our bond dollars stretch. So there are a couple of, hi, come on in. Yep. There you go. To really just make those dollars stretch. So next is the upgrading, as well as new traffic signals and upgrading intersections. Bridge safety and connections at $40.7 million. For bridge safety, I really like to highlight this one from a safety aspect as well. In civil engineering, we always talk about our aging infrastructure and how to be able to keep up with that, we do have to be able to allocate certain funds. And the bridge safety at $40.7 million is really geared towards that. So there are specific bridges that we have identified that would need rehabilitation, just because, again, we do value the aspect of safety, and we do when we are prioritizing those projects as well. We also are utilizing some of our dollars, as mentioned earlier, to leverage our funds with our regional partners. And so who are our regional partners? So that could be TxDOT, that could be the North Central Texas Council of Governments. It can be even federal dollars, in that if we put in a dollar as part of our local share, then the other party, the other regional partnership, will be able to match that. Typically, on some instances, it's like 80% our regional partnership and 20% of our dollars can really make an actual project happen that would otherwise really take a huge bite out of a specific proposition. So we are really utilizing that, and we actually use that as part of our ranking analysis. So if there were dollars that we're able to leverage, we were able to elevate that as a higher priority project so that we can make sure that we capture those dollars, so that, again, making, from a fiduciary standpoint, making the dollar stretch. So next is sidewalk and school safety, as well as Vision Zero projects. So the Vision Zero projects at $12.3 million, this is really looking at an entire corridor, right, an entire roadway corridor, and seeing what are some of the safety features from even a pedestrian standpoint that we can utilize and implement some safety features to really try to lower the death that's related to sometimes traffic-related incidents. This all ties back to a council-approved Vision Zero safety action plan from August earlier this year. So that specific plan will help inform the types of direction, the types of projects, so that we can move forward with design as well as full-on implementation. And just to touch back again with the sidewalks, that's just like your straight, your typical sidewalks that you would see. It would still take into account the ADA measures, and so that would be incorporated in both our design and our implementation. And following up, we have our railroad crossings as well as our street lights. Now, there's a lot of information in this exhibit. Oh, there's some clapping. I love that. So there's a lot of information in these exhibits. And I do want to point that each one of the proposition tables, they do have this exact same exhibit that you can actually see a little bit more like close up if for some reason you're sitting in the back and it's a little difficult to read from that perspective. So next is the parks and open space proposition, and this is at $185.1 million. So what exactly is that breakdown? Well, at $57.5 million, it's about upgrading metropolitan and community parks. Now, you've hopefully become familiar with Gateway Park. That would be a citywide type of project that would benefit all across the city of Fort Worth, and that would be $25 million, I believe, for Gateway Park in that perspective. We also have rebuilding the Atatiana Carr Jefferson Community Center at Hillside for $30 million. We do have one seat over here if you need to sit over here. 25 million. And then open space and land conservation at 25 million. Now, open space and land conservation is really looking at into the future ways in which the city is able to, because of we've had quite a bit of growth. I mean, we've all seen that perspective. And with that growth, there's specific land that may be acquired. And the open space initiative is really about being able to purchase natural open space so that as the city grows, we continue to hold on to a lot of that open space features for years to come. And that is where that 25 million would be geared towards. And we have some representatives here to really dive into what that future can look like. For aquatic centers at 22 million, the botanic garden upgrades at 10.5 million, the water garden upgrades at 10 million. So if you've ever gone to downtown, you've brought your friends, you've brought your family, you've strolled around near the convention center. Some of those upgrades would go towards that in 10 million, as well as the Fort Worth Zoo infrastructure at 4 million. Next is public library at 14.6 million, and this would be the relocation of the Fort Worth History Center, the renovation of the Southwest Regional Library, as well as the renovation of Diamond Hill Jarvis Library. Now, you see quite a bit of renovations on this, and that is because our facilities are actually heading towards that age in time, and that they've been here for nearly 40 years. And so this would really go into the aspect of renovating, being able to continue to provide quality service to our residents. And this information was actually informed by the master plan that Public Library does use from a facility assessment standpoint, and these would be the next on that specific list when it comes to, again, project selections. And Midori is so happy over here because this is her bread and butter. You can see her waving and smiling over there. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop on by her table as well related to public library proposition. So next is affordable single-family housing proposition, and this is at $5 million. Now, how exactly is that $5 million parceled out? Now, earlier I talked about leveraging funds, right? So 1 million would be used towards the acquisition of vacant land or blighted homes. The 4 million would be used to leverage our dollars to go towards the infrastructure costs to develop single family, single owner occupied, single family housing within, or really it would be throughout the entire city. We have a great group of individuals located right over here, even our director, Ms. Casey Thomas. They have brought together some great exhibits to really show you what the homes can look like, as well as what, say if there's specific household size, and there's stuff about AMIs and what the salaries and who would qualify from that perspective, where they really can dive into those details to help answer those questions. But again, that $4 million would help leverage a lot of the capital infrastructure. Because again, the 2026 bond, we're looking at it from that $2.7 billion need and seeing how can we leverage these dollars to be able to really expand on our capital side of projects for years to come. So that's like our sidewalks, water meters with our water and sewer impact fees. There could be some perspective of transportation impact fees. It can really go into all those details, which again, I'll defer to the team to really dive into that. And then next, we have public safety proposition at 63.9 million. Now, public safety, I always talk about this slide as new, rebuild, and renovate. So we have the new Fire Station 46 in the Southwest Fort Worth area at 19.4 million. Rebuilding a Fire Station 40 in Northwest Fort Worth at 15 million, and the renovation of one of our existing buildings, and this may look familiar to you over in downtown, and this is the Zipper building. Now, to say renovation, not to be taken lightly. So we all know that technology is rapidly changing, and we also know that our city is growing. And to be able to kind of hone in on both aspects, meaning we want to be able to provide quality service for fire, for safety, for police, to be able to go for emergency services, this renovation, this building, will really be used to replace our existing 40-year-old building and bring all of that together into one house. And again, this would be a citywide service to really leverage that 28.3 million. And we have Sunny here today who can easily help also answer a lot more of those questions. He's just as passionate in his area of expertise to be able to expand as well as overall in public safety. So next is the animal shelter proposition, and we at 59.9 million, this is to build a new animal control shelter with increased space. It's also intended to replace the current Chuck and Brenda Silcox animal shelter. So the existing shelter was built in 1998. For reference, the city of Fort Worth in the census in 2020 was at 560,000 people. We have close to doubled that now in 2025. And currently, for every 1,000 people that move to Fort Worth, there's about 25 to 35 animals that enter the animal welfare system. Our current live release rate, and our team is working diligently to continue to increase that, is at 86%. And so we have already expanded the existing animal shelter that has been in place since 1998 3 times. And to the point where we're now looking into increasing that space because we want to be able to be a no-kill shelter from that perspective, to be able to meet that 90%. And so this is how the city and this is how our staff would use that 59.9 million to be able to locate a new space, to be able to provide the adequate space so that we can try to achieve that goal as well and really take us into from a one-time capital expense for the next 30 to 40 years. All right, so those were all of our propositions, but I would be remiss if I did not highlight all of our past initiatives and how we got here. So in 2018, the 2018 bond was at 400 million. And this is where all of those projects were. We move over to 2022 at 560 million. You can see that the 2018 bond projects are grayed back, and you can see where the 2022 bond projects were overlaid. Next is the 2026 bond that's being proposed to you today. This is where all of the projects are located in color, and again, in gray back are the 2018 and the 2022 projects. So you may also ask, well, are there some projects from 2022 that are still going on right now? Well, I work over with the budget team, and whenever we talk about bonds and we talk about like tranches of cash and being able to sell the bonds so that we could pay for projects, well, we are still selling, as the program is intended, the next tranche of bond notes. And what that money is used is to be able to really help pay for that next phase within the project. So while we are continuing to close out our projects in 2022, this latest tranche of cash is really can be utilized to pay towards this next step, which is going to construction. So that's why sometimes you'll see that while we are fortunate as a city to come forward to you every 4 years with a new bond, specific projects can still take maybe possibly 6 years to complete, because within those 4 years, we've had to do design or preliminary study, we've had to do design, we've had to acquire right-of-way in specific areas, work on permits with railroads, whatever that, little aspects that really do add up in time, to the point where within that 4-year cycle in this specific bond, we're now ready to go into construction for certain projects. So again, this is where all the projects are located as proposed today, but really just wanted to give some background to help give you some more insight on what we're doing. So all the projects are not entirely baked. There are still opportunities to do project swaps. What does that opportunity look like? Well, this would be you engaging today, providing comments at our tables, or being able to vocalize in any way through an online link that I'll show you in a moment, but also understanding that for every project that we're to say swapped, you have to be able to do almost like a dollar for dollar, right? Because we're looking at an overall $840 million bond capacity. So if one project goes on, another one goes off. And so to be able to make those decisions, we're going to utilize your information, your comments, and work with our city staff, but also work with our city council to make that last decision before we finalize the said list. So these projects that are shown here, they're not all encompassing. They're just some to kind of stir discussion from that perspective. But from a bigger picture, we have, as Tony was identifying earlier today, we have QR codes. So this QR code is related to the 2026 bond. It will take you to the Connect Fort Worth website. That is www.connect, fw.com, in which you can learn more about all the projects, the actual detail from a scope perspective, the dollar amounts was being proposed right now, but also something called the Balancing Act. And this is a tool that Connor here developed, in which you're able to actually add, or you're able to say, unselect a specific project, add another one. You're able to add to one proposition, but then decrease from another one. And really, you can kind of see the decision that lies ahead for our city council and for our city staff as well, to be able to see what that final list can look like. We will take all that information that's submitted through the Connect Fort Worth Balancing Act website, and we will aggregate that data so that we can present that to our leadership. So we're here today in fall 2025 to really engage with all the various districts. We will be moving forward towards the end of this year so that we can finalize the list based off of your input, so that in the January, February timeframe, our city council can call the election. And with that will be that finalized list that we will come back out to present to you in early 2026. So we'll do another round to really show you what that final list looks like, so that on May 2nd, 2026, we can have that bond election. So with all that being said, this is a live streamed event today, and we are going to open this up for questions. As much as I would love to answer all the questions here today, I will be relying on my subject matter experts across the room to really dive into the proposition specifics. But with that, we have microphones that we'll be handing out, and we can go and open it up for questions. All right, we have a question over here. Yes.
Oh, I don't know if I need the microphone, but I'll take it. First of all, thanks to city staff, because you've got to do this 10 times, and I'm sure it gets old. Also, shout out to Councilwoman Martinez and all of my fellow District 11 residents, because I've watched all of the bond meetings so far, and I think I can safely say this is the best attended. Is that right, Michelle? So shout out for District 11. But I'm Rick Herring, and I'm speaking on behalf of GPAC, which is the Gateway Park Action Coalition. And thank you, April, for calling out Gateway Park separately. But I'm here to say that we need more money in the bond for Gateway Park. We've got $25 million allocated, and that's awesome. But the City Council has adopted an ambitious master plan that has a price tag of about $150 million and growing every day. And I just wanted to remind City Council, City staff, anyone that may be watching the live stream now or later, that about what some public officials have said about Gateway Park and its importance in Fort Worth. We have a wonderful new Parks and Rec director, Dave Lewis. I don't know if he's here today, semi-new, but former Parks and Recs Department Director Richard Zavala, when he presented the master plan to the City Council, called Gateway Park one of the big four in the Fort Worth Park system. And he listed the Fort Worth Zoo, Fort Worth Botanic Gardens, Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge, and Gateway Park as being the big four in the Fort Worth Park system. And he went on to say that the city has a history of investing in sometimes controversial projects, but over the past 100 years, the city's made huge investments in the development of Lake Worth, the development of the Will Rogers Complex, the development of what's now Lockheed and what used to be Carswell in the 40s, then DFW Airport, Alliance Airport. Anyway, all of those projects had their naysayers, but the city dug in and provided the necessary dollars. And Richard said that he saw Gateway Park as being a project of that magnitude for the future of Fort Worth's economy and the city. Also, we have great support on the council for Gateway Park, including Councilwoman Martinez, but the mayor herself has called and said repeatedly that Gateway Park is Fort Worth's Central Park, and that the development and implementation of the master plan is catalytic to the city of Fort Worth's future. So, having said that, please squeeze out some dollars for us, add to it. We're not going to get there just with $25 million every 4 years. So thank you for your time. And all of you District 11 residents and Fort Worth residents, please tell your council members we want to see Gateway Park developed to its full potential. Thank you.
We have a question up here and then back there.
Well, my question is how. Thank you. My name is Theodore Morgan, and we have my wife and I have a platform. It's called Platform for Ordinary People, and we have adopted a park, the Gid Hooper Park, but by Versa Williams. My question is, and I don't know if I missed it, the project that they're doing at Sylvania and Airport Freeway, and they tore down a couple of buildings. I heard that the freeway is coming, so I just wanted to get clarification on what's going on right there. I hope I didn't speak out of turn.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you for your question. We do have Lauren Preer, the Director of Transportation and Public Works, to help answer that question.
Yeah, so good morning. This is a fantastic turnout, if someone hasn't already said it. But I hear your question. Let's get with TxDOT and get the updates on that project. So just with that intersection, I think they would be the best ones to answer for you.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, and so, okay. Yep, so Lauren will go ahead and take that information to additional details, and we will be following up on that. Okay, and I believe the next question was back there, and then we'll have one up here up front after that.
Hello, my name is Naomi, and I live in this area. This is an awesome turnout. It really makes me feel so proud of this community in Fort Worth, but could we fit one more person in this room? We are 70 or 75 years old, this building. There's a boxing club, very active boxing club next to us, and they come in for ice because they got to ice their boo-boos. We're having a meeting, and they come in right through here, get their bags, make ice packs. We have got to have a new community center before we're going to grow. We got to welcome these people in here. It's not going to be the same old, and get them interested and get them excited and coming in here. I know that the library loves the library where it's at, but that land could be used for something else. The library and the community center could be put in here. And let me tell you, this area is gonna explode. And I'm so excited about what's gonna happen in 25 years, but I'm not gonna be here. There's a lot of people in this neighborhood. I've lived here 20 years, people that have lived here 50 years. You know, let's get some excitement going now before everybody dies, and then a lot more people move in here and they're not so historic minded.
Thank you. There's a question up here. Yep, there you go.
Thank you. I'll come up here. Hi. Oh, can I? I'm Chelsea Petty. I am the PID manager. This way? Okay. I'm the manager of Sun Valley PID number 15 at Fort Worth.
Come on down.
Okay, all the way down. Here we go. Okay. So I'm a manager for PID 15 in Fort Worth, and the Sun Valley PID district is home to more than 150 businesses, 4,500 jobs, and generates more than $15 million in sales tax revenue to Fort Worth. You'll see some of our property owners and business owners here in the blue, if y'all would stand up for just a second. That's Sun Valley. So thank you. Sun Valley is a strategic economic driver for, in District 11 in Fort Worth, and we're here today because the Sun Valley PID Board, starting in July of 24, requested to be part of this bond program for our streets. We have 7 streets in Sun Valley, 6 of which are red. And if you've been to that great table at the back that has that fantastic map, you'll know that red means that our streets are no longer available for maintenance. They're too far gone, that the only possible alternative for our streets is reconstruction. And so far our streets have been excluded from this bond program, but in the research that we've done and the conversations that we've had with wonderful members of city staff, we believe that that decision was made on a basis of some incomplete information and outdated information using overstated costs and an all or nothing approach, that as if we were asking that all 7 of our streets be reconstructed at once, which we know costs a lot and is cost prohibitive. But what we're asking for is a phased approach, that perhaps a few of our streets could be included in this particular bond package, because as we said, there are no alternatives to reconstruction. So I'm going to open this up and ask that some of our business owners here in blue, if you could talk a little bit about how the deterioration of Sun Valley streets is impacting you and your businesses.
Hey, this is a great turnout. I really want to thank all the city staff for coming here and answering questions. I'll just say that it's been really fun to bring a lot of national and international companies to East Fort Worth, but just the sheer condition of the streets that were built in 1960, 1962, asphalt county roads, they've been torn up and patched so many times. What Chelsea said, they're not candidates for maintenance, as staff have told us. So we would just love if the city could come up with some sort of plan to take care of Sun Valley streets.
Ditto to what they're saying. I've been there 40 years, running multiple businesses there, and the streets the trucks can barely get through. They are old county roads. There's no, and bar ditches. And especially for all the businesses and the people that they employ, that all these businesses employ in that area, it's time for some upgrades.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Yeah, my business has been on Sun Valley Drive, my family's business, since 1982. So I've been driving on these streets since I've had a driver's license. And they weren't great in the 80s, and now they're really just terrible. And we're really just asking for just 1 or 2 streets to be included in this bond package.
Yes.
No. Is this the Sun Valley over at 820?
Yes.
820. So they're not going to implement anything after they get through with the freeway, or is that what y'all trying to do now to get everything involved while they're fixing 820 and 20 to include you all also?
Maybe some sort of plan.
Okay.
So, and my comment was some sort of plan. We do have Councilmember Martinez here, who did hear your comments as well as your input. And again, this is about discussing the projects, discussing the scope. Oh, there's one more. Sun Valley PID.
Hi, my name is Jessica Ramirez, and this is my brother, and we both own a business in Sun Valley. We've been there since 2017, and we're growing. We have over 30 employees now. And I just want to tell you a little experience I had driving on the streets. The potholes are feet deep, and even when we fill them up, that thing just goes down somewhere. I don't know where it goes, but those things get they're deep. And when it rains, they fill up with water. And we drive there every day, so we know the streets, we know where the potholes are, but there's people that don't. So one day I'm coming back from lunch with my mom, and we're just driving, and we see this truck literally going to the pothole because it had just rained. That man was raptured. He went like 3 feet up in the air, and he landed on the opposite side of the road and almost hit my car. So those are the kind of experiences that we're having, and I think it's just time for us to get some money, and we're not asking for all the streets to be fixed, just 1 or 2, and that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your input. Is this on Sun Valley PID as well? No, okay. To just expand a bit on that, we are taking your comments, and thank you for participating today in this activity. I know that there are also multiple ways in which we can also have phased approaches as well. And so we do have, again, our Transportation Public Works staff that have also heard you today. And I'm sure that they'll also start looking into the overall area and potential ways that there could be potential ways that we can approach this in multiple angles. So thank you again for your input. All right, so gentleman in the back, yep. And then we have two more up front that we've noted. Yes.
Yes, we noticed on the numbers it was 400 million 8 years ago, and it's gone up to 840 million. At this rate, it'll be what, $1.8 billion. When our children that are 10 years old will be 18, they'll be hit with this bill. And it's progress, but at the same time, I'd like to tell everybody to keep in mind that we were working on STEM programs for the 4th ISD, and we have these universities that are building up. So these college students that are going to be graduating in our city with our funds, those colleges, Texas A&M, TCU, all these colleges it's going to be a college town, right? So eventually they're going to need jobs. With people that are going to be NIMBYs who don't want it in their backyards, we're going to need industrial zoning. Because I'm not talking about like tire factories, because our kids are not graduating from college and they're going to be tire factory workers. No, they're going to be working in these tech labs, these places where they wear white coats and stuff like that, and it's got to be germ-free. It's not going to be the same idea that we put in Echo Heights. These are the things that we're going to start thinking about in our backyards, especially for District 11. My property values have gone up in District 11, thank you, but my property is going down in District 8. We have to understand that we can't just focus on one neighborhood because it's not our neighborhood. We have to also think about our family in Echo Heights, East Side, North Side, West Side, South Side. We all going to have to share the burden if we want to grow. Or else what's going to happen is we're going to lose the middle class. We're going to have either you're going to be rich, you're going to own a house and be a millionaire, or you're going to be homeless living in subsidized housing. So we need to start thinking about that. Thank you.
All right. And I did not catch your name. What was your name, sir? Mr. David Martinez, thank you for providing your comment as well as your input. Two aspects within your statement. For the first one, related to the bond, the dollar and the growth and the capacity of the bond is tied to our existing tax rate. And I do want to reiterate that your existing tax rate would not increase because of this bond. Now, in future, the sense that we identified in the video that we'll share again today, that is what helps us, in that case, kind of set our debt capacity to be able to go out and size the bond so that we can continue to chip away at that $2.7 billion in infrastructure needs that we have a bit of a hill to get through. The second aspect, as far as industrial zoning and looking and considering future growth, we do have the comprehensive plan table here today in which they are looking into exactly that reason. We are growing as a city. They can really dive into all of the growth rates, where they're seeing the said growth locally, but also as we continue to expand. And they are looking into the zoning aspects. They are looking at potential ways that if there is industrial areas of concern or even would like to implement certain industrial areas, they can definitely take that into account and also take your input. And there's a QR code that we'll share again at the very end when we open this up for everyone to walk around that you can also provide that input for. So, all right, we had two questions. Yes, here, and then the gentleman in the white hat after this, and then I caught you over here. Yes.
My name is Josh. I'm the president of the Greater Meadowbrook Alliance, and I want to praise the Parks Department, but also bring to your attention that the residents of Southeast Meadowbrook, which is East Lancaster, Central Meadowbrook, Eastern Hills, Brentwood Oaks, have little to no access to any green space or any parks. And when you incorporate West Meadowbrook and Woodhaven and White Lake Hills, there's also no access to a community center. So I think those two things are really disenfranchising a neighborhood that's neighborhoods already disenfranchised, and there must be 100,000 residents that are affected by this. It also crosses 3 council districts, so it will affect a multitude of people and officials. So I just want to, it may not be this bond, but perhaps there's something that can be done to identify some green space, some open space, some aspects of community center in any of those areas I mentioned.
Thank you. We do have Allison, who is lead on open space. She just waved her hand back there again. And then we also have Joel. Joel, if you can also raise your hand. So he's our assistant director with parks and recreation. And so thank you for that input, and I'm sure they've also taken that as well from your comments. The gentleman in the white hat, yes.
Hi, my name is Dan Snoke. I've lived here in Fort Worth for 55 plus years, doing well for a senior citizen. And if you haven't taken your over 65, deduction on your homestead, you're missing out. But anyway, I want to know if there's somebody here can elaborate a little bit on the $5 million for single family housing. All I see around my neighborhood, South Central Fort Worth, is 3- and 4-story apartment buildings. My neighborhood is getting crowded because it's 3- and 4-story apartment buildings. I'd love to see the single family housing. And so I'd like to know, how $5 million isn't going to buy nothing.
Well, thank you for your comment. My name is Casey Thomas. I'm the director of the Neighborhood Services Department. And to your point about $5 million is not enough, that is exactly the type of feedback we'd like to hear. This is the very first time that the city of Fort Worth has an affordable housing proposition as part of the bond program. And so we need to hear from residents. Do you agree that $5 million is enough? Is it too much? Is it not enough? And so that's the feedback. There are a number of different options where you can provide your feedback and let us know, would you like to see more or less? We also encourage you to reach out to your council member if you would like to increase that number. Again, April mentioned that if we add more money to the affordable housing proposition, we'll also have to identify where we would like to reduce the money. The money would go specifically to single family housing. And so we're talking about one home on a lot. This would not be a multifamily type development. It would be single family. And then it's also to encourage home ownership in the city of Fort Worth. As many of you who are residents know, the more homeowners you can get in your community who are invested in the community and have been there for a while, the better the neighborhood's looking. So we do want to encourage home ownership opportunities. But thank you for that feedback. My department appreciates you saying it's not enough. How it will be used?
$5 million.
Sure, certainly. So there's two aspects. The first aspect, ultimately the purpose of the money is to reduce the cost of building affordable housing so that more developers, more nonprofits will build affordable housing. And so we'll do that in two ways. One, we will purchase lots. It will either be vacant lots or we'll take blighted properties and then sell those to either nonprofits or developers who will then use those lots to build housing. So that's $1 million. The other $4 million, we will use that to help reduce the cost, the construction cost, the development costs that are required to build a home. And so we could use that on water and sewer impact fees. That can be a significant cost of construction. And so the more ways that we can help reduce the cost, we're hoping that that will encourage more people to build affordable housing.
Do you think it's enough?
Am I? I will say affordable housing is a great need, not only in the city of Fort Worth, but across the country. And so we will always accept any type of funding to help build more affordable housing.
Thank you, Casey.
And let me also mention the dollars that the bond dollars go for is just for, as Casey mentioned, is for lots and then for public infrastructure. So the idea is that we're leveraging private dollars for the actual construction of the homes. So they haven't estimated it yet, but we're going to imagine that a nonprofit builder or a for-profit builder is going to be building homes on those lots and to leverage that public infrastructure. So I'm imagining, and you all, if anybody's built a home lately, you know how much that is. And so if the price of the lot, right, is reduced, or if the cost of the public infrastructure is subsidized, then the cost of that home is fully paid for by the private sector, right? So we're leveraging, I've got to imagine, I'm guessing 75%, right, of the total cost of building a home. So $5 million could get you what? Somebody do the math. Come on, y'all. 5 million is 25% of. Come on. Ah! can do it. 15 million. 20 million? 20 million, okay. So we should be leveraging, say, $20 million with 5. Does that make sense? So it's not like we're just spending $5 million on affordable housing. We should be ultimately spending $25 million on affordable housing, right? Because we're not building the housing with these 5. It's the private sector that's building the housing. We're just trying to make the lots cheaper, help with the public infrastructure, water, sewer, the streets and sidewalks, stormwater. Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
I have a question on a specific.
Sorry, he had a follow-up. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, I just wanted to know that what's the guarantee that we have when the single family comes in that the developers won't turn and do duplexes and other kind of things?
Yes, because the zoning where we buy the lots will be single family, and what protections, Casey, will you put on those lots?
Yeah, so as part of the condition of getting the lot, either the lots at a cheaper price or the cost to develop, we would have a requirement that they would need to maintain that as affordable housing for a set period of time. And so that would be the way to guarantee that it doesn't become multifamily development, it doesn't become rental housing or anything like that.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Dana.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question on a specific block range that's included. It's the 5,000 block of Barnett Street. I'm asking that be 2 blocks, 5,000 and 5,001. One looks worse than the other, but if you drive it, the other one is a roller coaster. And I've lived in my neighborhood for 34 years and never seen anybody ever touch it. So I would like to see both of those, 5,000 and 5,001 Barnett. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have noted that information down with our TPW team. Thank you. We have the next question. Yes.
My name is Vicki Vargas, and I live in Worth Heights in District 11. And our library was closed down to make room for the History Center. And with the relocation of the History Center, we would like to see the seminary branch reopened. District 11 has about 6 libraries. However, none of them are west of 35. I call it the Worth Heights Library, but the Seminary South branch was the only one that serviced multitude of neighborhoods, not only Worth Heights, but Ryan Place, JMSL, Carter Park, Brentmore, so many. We need it reopened. It was utilized constantly. With the literacy problem we have, I'm sure everyone can agree that a library is essential, and it's essential in this area. So I would like to ask everybody to support reopening the Seminary South Branch Library. Thank you.
We had a question. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Tara Maldonado Wilson, and I've already been to one of these meetings, and I'm glad that this housing initiative was brought up. I literally just spoke to animal shelter people, and I hadn't heard the figure that for every 1,000 people that come to Fort Worth, was it 22 to 30 animals are passed through? But what I think is remarkable about that is that when this presentation on the affordable house piece is giving, there's no stats given on what the dollar amount of the average rent in Fort Worth is, or the median household income, or how the fact that affordable housing has to be a priority for us. Speaking specifically for District 11, City Council last year rammed this trafficking house down our throats despite the opposition of many people in this room. That's fair, it was a democratic process. However, these women, when they come out of this trafficking house, will need somewhere to go. They will be starting over. And that's just one example of people in Fort Worth. We know the houses problem in Fort Worth is huge. District 11 is heavily impacted by our houseless population. And so since we know as you just demonstrated, that bond dollars actually don't take effect for another 3 to 4 years until after we pass the bond. This $5 million being implemented in 2029 or 2030 is not going to put a dent in the affordable housing crisis that we'll be facing at that time. So what I'm asking everyone in this room to consider is the fact that the average rent or house payment in Fort Worth is $1,700 to $2,100 a year, meaning that someone would need to make anywhere from $68,000 to $84,000 a year to afford that. And that is at a current rate without inflation included. This animal shelter, and again, I don't have anything against animals. We do need a proper animal shelter. We would love to have a no-kill animal shelter. But as an ER trauma nurse who has to deal with people in their emergencies and their needs on a regular basis, we have to start centering people. And when we start spending millions and millions of dollars that are projected into our future. And so I actually believe that because the animal shelter has no projection for what the building is actually going to cost, where it's going to be. There's no schematics for it. There's nothing. It's just an arbitrary number that's on this proposition. My concern is that it won't pass in May because it's very arbitrary, and we lose out on $60 million of an $840 million bond that won't increase our taxes that could have gone to many other things. On top of that, we just absorbed EMS services to our fire, and we have not considered, and there's nowhere anything mentioned of how we're going to implement or help them absorb the mental health necessity of that role. EMS is on the front lines of interacting with people in our community all across Fort Worth that are experiencing mental health crisis or things that could get them to a mental health crisis. So in my opinion, this $60 million for the animal shelter, which we are being given an either or option, which is a really bad habit by our city manager's office, because every single person that worked to be here today is fantastic. Y'all are great, right? It's our city managers, it's those people that won't let us be great. And they constantly give us these choices where we have to be all or nothing. And I don't feel like enough intentional thinking was done on this piece. So in my opinion, $20 million could go to housing. $20 million can be given to EMS for infrastructure, vehicles, special fleets, where we can get with MCOT to dispatch out mental health counselors to people experiencing crisis. There's so many pieces that can go into that. And I believe that EMS needs to be started off on a proper foot. And we do that by giving them the things that they need to meet the people in our community. And then the other 20 million, of which 10 could go to Gateway, and the another 10 could go to all the other infrastructure pieces that actually help people in Fort Worth that are in this moment struggling and are hurting. So I just want to invite everyone to be a little bit more thoughtful about the dollars that we're going to be leveraging, according to Dana. Instead of leveraging 5 for 20, why don't we leverage 20 for $80 million in affordable housing?
All right, and thank you for the very detailed breakdown as far as your recommendation with the dollar breakdown, as well as additional background on that. I do want to clarify one item in terms of the bond dollars. The funding that comes in, we do sell notes every year, and so we are able to start on our projects within a respective cycle. And yes, every single year within that 4-year period, we are selling notes, and we are continuing to push projects through. So projects will continue to move forward in 3 years. Yeah. Yes. From construction. Yeah. Yes. Yep. And then we obviously had some additional background. I hear that neighborhood services also took note of that amount from an EMS and safety standpoint. We've also taken into account your comment as well. And then overall with affordable housing, as well as even future growth and leveraging dollars. So thank you. Okay, we have a comment and question.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Jones, and I'm the current Carter Riverside Neighborhood Association president. I want to welcome you to the Riverside Community Center. This is where we have our meetings every second Thursday. I have 2 comments. One, I want to second that additional capital assets in this neighborhood are very welcome. This community center has been here double my lifespan, probably a little longer. 70 years old. So definitely older than double my lifespan. Say it again? As old as Dan. Okay. Same thing with Gateway Park. Same thing with Riverside Park, and also investing in green spaces for our community to go to. But the reason I got into, I guess, the public arena is because I have 3 young kids, and I actually think Fort Worth has excellent assets. We have a great river. The downtown's great. Gateway Park is great. It could, it still needs improvement, but right now we go there. The library we have down the street is great. But how do kids get there? Mostly I have to drive them, or I walk with them on these sidewalks that are not really sidewalks. I cross streets that are dangerous. So I would like to not only advocate for additional capital assets, additional green space, but for connectivity, especially for younger people who do not have the ability to drive. So one of the bond swap projects I saw in there was the Belknap and Ray Street, as well as Riverside. So it's like a 6-way intersection sidewalk improvement. So how do kids get to these assets that we want to build? I want to make sure that the city council is constantly thinking of that, especially for ADA, especially on these sidewalks. I'm pushing strollers, and if I have to pop over curbs, I can't imagine what people who are disabled have to do with. So smaller scale, not just streets, but how do people walk, how do people bike, especially younger kids, to these great assets we have in the city of Fort Worth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Just a bit to expand on that, we do have the Vision Zero, and so there could be utilizations, and to be able to maybe do a phased approach to be able to really hone in on a specific area if, say, the full project does not make it on the list, or if it does, with the whole swapping aspect of things. But thank you again for your information, and TPW is also here to hear that too. So, yes. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. This individual over here. Hi, sir.
I just wanted to ask, I don't see any funding up there whatsoever for water infrastructure. I don't want it to become an emergency. They're already talking about us drinking recycled water, which I'm out on that. Also, the highways are so congested, and the ozone here is so bad. And everything I read, they say that Fort Worth next year will start getting millions of dollars in fines for their air quality. I don't see any millions up there or what they're planning to do about their air pollution.
Thank you for that comment. For the reason why we're not showing anything related to water and sewer is because we do have a water fee. We do have a water department that does collect fees to be able to pay for that infrastructure. So in terms of water replacements, or even related to like cast iron replacements, or even just with that said growth, we're able to utilize water-related rates and collections to be able to cover that cost. The second item related to air pollution and so forth, I'm sure the city will continue to work with entities like the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to be able to discuss that, but also from a larger regional perspective, there would be larger regional discussions related to air pollution that we could certainly discuss outside of even the bond. So thank you. Okay, we have a few more time for a few more questions. Yep, hi.
I'm Cindy Bowling. I am president of Central Meadowbrook Neighborhood Association, and Dan, my good friend, is vice president. Many of you have mentioned community centers. I see that there's funding for renovation of community centers. And as Josh said, our area spans a huge area. West Meadowbrook, Central Meadowbrook, Woodhaven. You mentioned another neighborhood, Josh, Eastern Hills, Brentwood Oaks. We do not have a community center at all. There are some neighborhoods who have more than one. So we're all here today, and this community center is free for community gatherings and meetings. Our neighborhoods, when we meet, and we have several monthly meetings, we pay the United Methodist Church in order to use their fellowship hall. Our neighborhood associations pay for that because we do not have a community center at all. And we span a huge area. We have lots of land. We have huge vacant lots along East Lancaster. Palladium's going up along East Lancaster, and there's a huge lot that probably won't ever be developed into a food pantry just to the east of that.
Please do not touch the divider. Thank you.
What did I do? I did? What are dividers? Oh, okay. Well, I've been known to touch things I'm not supposed to. Right? Okay. So we don't have a community center, and there's absolutely no excuse for that, especially when other communities have more than one. So that's my extreme irritation. Where's the money for our community center? Second, I want some clarification. Dana, as you explained it with the affordable housing, that I look at the $5 million as a subsidy to encourage the private funds like tax incentives and tax credits and people to come in, private money, construction to provide affordable housing. And affordable housing also has other funding sources like federal fundings and grants, as compared to something like the proposed animal shelter. As far as I know, and please correct me, an animal shelter doesn't have tax incentives or private funding unless there's a huge donation. It won't have the other subsidy money or sources to build. It has to rely on bond money. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And that's why it's more than $5 million, because the $5 million will be enhanced, although I get Tara's point. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have time for just a few more questions, and then I'll have Councilwoman Martinez close out with some notes. Yes. Hi.
Well, good morning. My name is Torchy White, and I am a longtime resident of District 5 and the East Side, and I'm here because I am a longtime devoted member of the East Side. And the first thing I want to do is to thank the city for the renovation of the golf course, which is on the east side. Although it is maybe within the lines of District 11, it's ours. It's all ours. And it is beautiful. The vistas are incredible. And I really invite everyone in this room to take a tour of the golf course and hopefully participate in golfing or start your participation in golfing for the exercise, if nothing else. But the big issue here for us is we need a sustainable restaurant. And it has a restaurant that needs to be expanded. It needs to be our go-to destination spot on the east side. And I invite everyone here in this room to just take a tour and to embrace how beautiful it is and what a go-to spot it can become if you, your friends, your neighbors continue to support it. It is absolutely beautiful, and it can bring many wonderful things to the east side. One, it can help sustain our business areas, okay? It's also a place where we can have gatherings, meetings. Yeah, our neighborhood associations could possibly meet there. Okay, but I just want to invite you to go there to eat, have coffee, partake of the inside, and also the beautiful patio area. It's incredible. All right, so just keep us in your hearts and know that the East Side is a go-to destination spot. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more. Okay.
Hello? Okay. Well, I also, I showed up a little bit late, so I don't know if the new city art building was discussed. I'm late. I showed up late. Sorry about that. But not knowing if that was talked about or not, I just want to say that was, I think there was proposed $36 million for the new art center, or the center to be developed, rehabbed over there on Ginty. And I want to tell everybody, we don't have a library in Southside, in Worth Heights, or for Carter Park and all the other neighborhoods that are in the area, District 9 and 11, off I-35. But here's the thing that I'm telling you, with our students in Fort ISD not having DEI, a lot of students do not have a cultural balance. So the arts is a way we can work with, also with the library being built and creating an art space. If you go to the art spaces, the community centers and the libraries, there's not enough art or art programs. So I would like everybody to keep in mind in that some of the city community centers are also resources for our students, and actually for our STEM programs. We do not have many of the parents, the students are Hispanic, and their parents do not have STEM jobs or education. So where the kids are going to learn? They don't have a STEM. The Girls Inc. has a STEM lab, but we need to make these spaces for the kids who have STEM programs. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right, here we go. And I guess to close off again, the QR code is here. Encourage you all to go and follow up as far as adding your comments. And with that, here you go, Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you, April. She did a wonderful job. Let's give her a round of applause. So again, thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning. I encourage you to, again, go onto the QR code, leave your feedback, but also to really break down what's included in the bond. You know, I believe with the relocation of the History Center, that is reinstating the Southside Library majority. Can you confirm that? And also included in the bond is the proposition to add a clubhouse to the golf course, the Meadowbrook Golf Course. So we're really excited about that. And so some other projects in there as far as street improvements, sidewalk improvements. And so I really feel like we have a really good list of projects in District 11. I can't remember the breakdown exact to the number of projects or the total amount to be funded. But I really want to thank you again for coming out and providing your feedback. Please, we have the room for another 30 minutes. We have department directors here, and also, you know, parks, we have neighborhood services you heard, we have code, we have transportation, we have water, we have emergency, and so please reach out to these department heads and advocate for those projects that are important to you. And I have heard you, and I know of pretty much everything that was brought to the attention this morning, but it's really good for everybody to hear throughout the district, because we want our projects to be, of course, approved when the bond does come to pass. So thank you again, and if you need to catch me, I'll be here also the remainder of the event. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.